Alright, my name is John, and today I'm going to be going over the natural disaster structure that we have built for the place of St. Augustine, Florida. When building a structure in St. Augustine, we had to look at one of the most common hazards, which included flooding, hurricanes, wildfires, earthquakes, tornadoes, thunderstorms, and most recently, blizzards. After identifying these common hazards, it was best to determine which ones were most common and which ones weren't as common. This would then lead me to decide which I could incorporate into my design as adaptations for my structure. Right here you can see my structure and its dimensions. This is just the outermost surface of the structure. The whole structure that I had built was basically to be a safe haven or stronghold for when someone was in danger and needed a place to escape or seek a safe haven. This structure consisted of two areas, one being the surface area, which was used to avoid flooding. The second area was the basement, which was used to avoid any tornadoes. Moving to the surface, we're going to discuss how it was created to avoid flooding. Hurricanes are something that are very common and known to hit this part of Florida, especially in St. Augustine. Now, although usually seen as a peaceful place, flooding is known to be able to occur due to the massive amounts of rainfall that would usually hit this particular area, or mainly parts of Florida. Of course, the area that it is situated in would allow for it to be susceptible to these types of attacks. So that's why I've incorporated these stilts that allow elevation for my structure. I've designed these supports to be about 5 feet in height to prevent any massive amounts of water to seep into the house.
The people of St. Augustine and St. Johns County have experienced a major flooding event nearly every year. So this weekend's nor'easter was one of them, and our Jessica Clark asked the question, is this the new normal?
In 5 years, St. Augustine has flooded at least 4 times. Hurricanes Matthew, Irma, Dorian, and this weekend's nor'easter. Is this the new normal?
Due to the history of St. Augustine receiving all of these different hurricanes, it was imperative that I include in my design a sort of system that would prevent it from being susceptible to lots of amounts of flooding and water. This meant that I would have to have the structure on an elevated plane, which I incorporated by adding these support pillars that I use to hold up the structure. The material that would be used for these pillars would be cement or stone, because anything such as wood or a material that isn't very sturdy and that could be flammable would not be as effective. So stone is something that is much more deep and rooted into the ground and would provide a much better structure as well as a good foundation, so that the structure could be situated on a good and sturdy foundation. Through extensive research, I did not find any traces of extreme amounts of forest fires or wildfires that would hit the area of St. Augustine. So it was something that I was able to overlook in my design. So I did not incorporate any sort of adaptation other than the idea that the exterior material of the structure would consist of mainly stone and cement, because usually bricks, while although not thought to be, can indeed catch fire, and also your average wood or cabin would be susceptible to fire. So even though, although not being very common, it would still be best to include materials such as mineral wool or glass wool, which are not good conductors of heat, thus making them well against fire. I would have these materials situated around the bedrooms to prevent any fire from spreading around to the house, and only being able to take down a portion of the house that is not situated with this material. This would mean that my structure would indeed be fireproof and able to survive a potential wildfire or outbreak. Now, earthquakes were not a huge problem that was found to be in St. Augustine. Therefore, I did not incorporate anything to combat any potential earthquake that could possibly mess up the structure. Therefore, I decided to overlook this minor detail and just have the structure rely on its other adaptations for the other more common disasters.
Hold on to your butts.
As briefly mentioned and discussing about flooding, hurricanes are also a big deal in St. Augustine. And while the flooding can pose a huge threat, another thing that can happen are power outages due to these hurricanes causing the power to go out. This will then cause the structure to lose power, and any people inside will then suffer because of it. This is why I incorporated a generator into my design, which would provide a power source as a backup in case one of these power outages were to happen. This way, power could then be distributed throughout the structure to any people inside, thus not leaving them lacking power or having to face any hard situations. To combat the threat of tornadoes in St. Augustine that are known to have hit a couple times in the past and are able to hit in the future, I've included the area of a basement in the structure, which is located underground, of course. This would allow a safe area to escape to in the event a tornado coming to pass by.